Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out John Mayer's fabulous tune, Stop This Train. Now this is not a straightforward tune, okay, and it's taken me a lot of hours of research and practice to try and get it this far. I think I've cracked it, and I've spent a lot of time watching live videos and listening to the record and trying out different stuff, and I'm fairly sure I've got it the way that he plays it, and it's actually not as hard as you might think. So I'm hoping you're going to enjoy it. There are a couple of things that I can't do, a couple of fingerings of the fretting hand that my hands just aren't big enough. John Mayer's got really big and really flexible hands, and he can play a couple of chords I just can't do. So as well as showing you as close as I can get to what he's doing, actually doing, I'm going to try and give you a few ways of simplifying it as well. Like a lot of his tunes, a lot of it is in the rhythm part, okay? And the strumming hand's got some tricky things going on, but I'm going to show you, it's actually, now that I've got it figured out, it doesn't feel too bad. And I'm going to show you how to practice it real nice and slow and what the different techniques are that you're going to need for doing this tune. I've also got the bridge, or the two different bridges in there that I'll show you as well. I've got a feeling this might end up being a multi-part video because it's going to be fairly long, I suspect. So before we get to a close-up and I get down to the nitty-gritty, I'd really appreciate your support. You know, these projects for me are quite big and quite time-consuming, and, you know, showing your support by hitting that subscribe button and the little notify button, the little bell next to it, be really greatly appreciated, you know, to support what I'm doing here. So let's get to a close-up and check out how to play it. Okay, so this is the first riff, and this is definitely the thing that you want to spend quite a bit of time with getting used to, particularly the strumming hand. But we need to, of course, check out the chords first of all as well. So the very first chord, we're in standard tuning, is a D sus2 chord. So first finger, second fret of the third string, third finger, third fret of the second string. Just playing the thinnest 4 strings. That's the first chord. The second chord could have lots of different names. This one, we've got the open D string, we've got first finger playing the 6th fret of the third string, we've got the open B string, and the third finger on the 7th fret of the thinner string as well. Okay, so it's kind of, I guess it's kind of feels like an A chord with a D bass, but you could also think of it as a major 13. It's got a few different, like I said, it's got a few different names if we think of it as a D, but kind of sounds to me like the tonality is going to an A. Doesn't really matter, okay? It's a D chord. Third finger comes off, first finger slides up to the 6th fret, and third finger goes down the 7th fret of the thinner string. Then he changes the fingering, okay, to second finger goes where the first finger was originally, so same note, and first finger goes down on the 5th fret of the thinner string. Okay, this would be a kind of a D major 13, I guess, again. Doesn't really matter. Final chord is this D6, I guess. So just second finger is sliding down to play the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. We're playing just again the thinnest 4 strings. This is not the hard part. The hard part is the strumming part. Okay? But I want to show you the chords first, just so you've got something to get started with. Okay, so first finger slides up to the 6th fret, third finger moves over to the 7th fret thinner string. Full swap, second finger goes where first finger was, and first finger moves to the 5th fret of the thinner string. And then first finger lifts off, second finger slides down. Okay, a lot of people seem to miss this change here at the top, but there's plenty of videos where you can quite clearly see that little swap. And yeah, that third finger's often hammer on, but we'll worry about that after we've dealt with the rhythm of it as well. You can see actually the fretting hand's not doing anything complicated, but there's a whole lot of groovy sounds coming out, and it's all down to our strumming hand. So all of the action is going on in the strumming hand. That's where all of those magnificent sounds are coming from. The chords are relatively simple. So let me play it for you first of all at regular speed. Now I'm going to have a go at playing it real slow so you can see the motions, but it is one that actually kind of works at full speed better than slowly. You have to learn it slow, but I'm going to break it down for you into some more individual chunks to make it a little more learnable in a sec. But here's a slow look at it anyway. Okay, now let's break it down into the individual components so you can kind of get what's going on here. So the first thing to check out is the thumb, because that's actually doing quite a lot in this tune, and it's the thing that I'd work on separately before starting to add in anything else. So the thumb is going to be playing on beat 1, and on beat 2 it's doing a little muted hit. So it's actually kind of hitting down on the 5th string predominantly. The knuckle of the knuckle of the thumb is hitting the 5th string, but at the same time it needs to mute the 4th string. So you're going to play, mute, and it's ready to play again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I spent probably an hour doing this. Once I figured out for sure the way John Mayer was doing it, that he had this little trick of muting the string, because you can hear it very clearly. Now that I've said it, if you listened out to it or watched some videos, you'll see the way that thumb is going down and muting that string, and also creating that percussive hit. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I might be making it look easy, but it's taken a lot of practice to be able to get the mute happening just at the same time, while that little click. Because you'll find sometimes the thumb doesn't land in a way, it'll land here, and then you've kind of got to move it back again to get ready for a playing position. So that's the first thing that you really want to sit down and encounter. And just that, doing what I'm doing now, playing it over and over again and getting used to it, because that is consistent all the way. That's just there. Kind of exaggerating it now, but that's, you want to get used to that, because it's a really important part of the whole scheme of that rhythm, and it happens on other strings as well, but it's a lot easier to get it going on the 4th string first of all. So my recommendation will be a little bit of time just practicing that one thing. Don't feel like you always got to try and play the riff all of the way through to start off with. The more bits that you can break it down into, the easier it's going to be for a hard kind of a riff like this. This ain't beginner's material, right? So a little bit of practice on that first. Now if we look at the pattern, we're starting off with using the first finger to play the open B string at the same time as the bass. Then we've got the hammer on of the 3rd finger on the fretting hand. And now as we're doing this little muted thing, 1st finger is doing like a little strum. Yeah. Trying to do this stuff slowly is really difficult, so please forgive me if I start making mistakes. But the trick is that as the thumb is going to go down and mute the 4th string and do that percussive hit with the thumb, 1st finger's going to do like a little downward strum, brush. I'd call it kind of a brush down. So picking the 2nd string along with the bass note, that's the 4th string with the thumb, hammering the 3rd finger down, and then the 1st finger is doing that little downstroke at the same time as thumb is doing the mute. I'd practice that again for a bit. Can you get used to, nice and slow, pick together, hammer on, and then 1st finger does this little flick at the same time as the thumb goes down. Do it as slowly as you need to be able to get used to the feeling of getting it, because it's kind of like a little flick out. The other fingers will move it likely a little bit with it as well. Sometimes I thought when I was watching videos that he was strumming down with all the fingers, but I think I've seen enough now to I'm fairly sure he's just using his 1st finger, you know. Maybe he doesn't even realize what he's exactly doing. It all looks very natural to him. So now there's a little up strum with the 1st finger as well. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 on the and there, that's the first finger playing the third string. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And again, we've got that little strum down on 4. The thumb was supposed to hit them, but again, because I'm doing it so slowly, it's all running out of sync. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I'd recommend that you try practicing that pattern over and over until you get it just on that D chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 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 1 and 2 and 3. Don't be afraid of practicing this stuff really slowly. Or slower, but you're aiming to try and find a spot where, like that for me, that tempo, it starts to feel kind of natural to do it, and it's not that much of a difficult pattern, okay? Just take it real easy, make sure you've got the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Once you're happy with that, maybe try it on the second chord. So just move up to the second chord, okay? Now we've got the first note. Instead of playing the second string, it's just playing the thinner string. It's kind of like an upstroke. It's not just playing that one, it's like a little upstrum. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Now this is a kind of an approximation because there's lots of minor variations on this. So like when I transcribed it, I tabbed out exactly what note he played at every point, and I've tried to make a consensus of like evening it out, because if you're going to try and play every note in exactly the same way, it's very, very difficult, and it's not what he does when he plays it live anyway. So it's much more about getting the pattern and the feel and all of that stuff right, in my opinion. So 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Then try changing it onto the third chord. It's the same again. Together, sweep, with a sweep up. Sometimes I'm forgetting to turn the little hit on. Okay, and the last chord. Pattern is essentially the same. Okay, once you feel confident with each of those, and that might take you like a week or two, it did for me. Okay, so don't think like I've just shown it to you and expect yourself to be able to do it right away. This is the kind of thing that took me at least 3 or 4 hours practice just to get this first. And that's after I'd figured it out, okay? There was quite a few hours involved in just figuring out what was going on as well. There was definitely, probably, in fact, I've got a feeling it might have even been up on a live stream on YouTube where I was practicing this. For, I don't know, just this one bit, for at least half an hour. You know, you really want to be doing that and trying to concentrate on getting a nice thud there, the click with the thumb. You know, it's going to take some practice, at least it should. So that's really the key feature of this whole tune, because nearly all of the rest of it relies on this, the thumb playing 1 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, that's a real consistent feature even on other strings. Okay, it's going to move to some other strings. We're going to go back to wide and talk about the chords and stuff for the other bits. But that particular part is really, really consistent, as is the little down flick thing that happens on beats 2 and 4. So if you might want to practice doing that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just getting the first finger to flick as the thumb's going down. There. As far as the other notes go, as we're going to explore it as we go through the different patterns, but first finger will be picking out some other notes as we go along, but this part stays consistent. It's the thing to remember.